Well, it's nice to see a few of you found your way back here this morning. I almost forgot myself, but welcome back to our Monday morning trading room. And I do see a couple new names in the room here this morning, so welcome. Nice to see some new folks joining us. A very quick overview of what you're not seeing because I haven't started the screen share. Okay, so what you're looking at here now is the diversified trading system, and the way that I have mine set up is I have my Hawk scalper here on the top left, Falcon swing trader top right, Eagle trend trader bottom left, and then the Raptor here on the bottom right. These charts are all NASDAQ charts. I'm also following the 6E, that's euro dollar, and gold on my other monitor. But please don't be shy about requesting a market if there's something you would like to see. Or if you have any questions, please don't be shy about asking. I will do my best to answer. Okay. So the market's just opened up, pardon me. And a lot of times out of the open, I'm not that keen on getting too crazy off the market. I know a few of you are a little bit more aggressive than I am. Some of you will be waiting for this first eagle signal. This is your first in sync eagle signal of the morning. And that tends to have some pretty good follow through. You can see here on Friday's session, we got our first in sync signal right here. It took a little bit of heat, but wow, look at that follow through. That's crazy. And it isn't just the eagle that you can do that with, by the way. You Raptor traders might feel left out. No, you can do that as well. You can look for that first in sync signal. So what I would be looking for is I'd be looking for the bands to be stacked, in this case bullish, and there's my first buy signal. The Raptor, of course, a combination, a hybrid of the other trading tools, so it will incorporate elements of the Hawk, the Falcon, and the Eagle, but it's Monday morning, and it's kind of, well, it is the last week of trading. We'll see how this week progresses. Very often as we get closer to Christmas, the market gets really, really flat. Most of the children won't be out of school until this Friday, although I think the private schools have already let out. And so far, we don't really have much in the way of a directional bias on the market. So we'll just wait. There's nothing wrong with waiting. It's okay to miss moves. You have my permission. Sometimes the market catches us all kind of on our back foot. I heard someone say last week, the stock market, or the purpose of the stock market, is to relieve as many people from as much cash as possible. That's why it's so difficult to trade. The market keeps giving you these little head fakes. Good question here from Keith. Keith's asking about the median line here on the support and resistance suite. He asked, do you think the market will fill the gap and try to get down to the gold line? Yes, I do. I'm actually very bearish on the stock market. I think we're due for a correction. As far as seasonal tendencies go, the market does tend to decline toward the end of the year. And oddly enough, it tends to happen just before Christmas. So we may see the market still a little bit more bullish, but I would be very much more in favor of a shorting opportunity. In fact, here on the Raptor, we've got all the bones of a number 2 signal. We've got a trend. We've got a retest now, a couple of retests of the trend. This could have been interpreted as a number 2 signal right here, even though it did not print that way. So now we're into the hard edge. We'll probably see a little bit of buying show up. I think the median line is a good target, Keith, and I could even see the primary support coming into play. We're getting a little bit in the way of a trend change signal now. A cloud crossover. Cloud's not fully crossed, just beginning to cross. It would be what we might call an early cloud crossover. While we're waiting on that, here now is your daily NASDAQ chart. And if we draw a line there, we could even draw a line like this. You can see we've got a little bit of an upward wedge forming. These types of formations tend to break down. And you can see that 65.50, which I honestly did not think we would see this year, is providing a little bit of resistance. But at the same time, you can't deny this was a crazy huge session and a decent amount of volume on it as well. So there was a fair amount of market participation there. We will see. But right now, yes, I think I would be in favor of a short opportunity. Here is going to be one on the Raptor. It is what I would call an early cloud crossover. I'll show you the complete cloud crossover. Keep an eye out for a sell signal on that one while I scroll back here and show you the proper cloud crossover. This is what the proper one looks like. This is actually a textbook one right here. Clouds go from a bearish state to a bullish state. They pull back, and then the first signal that prints after that pullback, that's your number 1 signal. That tends to be a pretty high probability signal. And you can see the clouds just beginning to cross. They're not fully crossed. So we won't print a number 1 signal here, but that's what I would call an early cloud crossover. And I think what I would do is just get all my settings ready. So I've got my stop ready, and I'll just go with the swing high-low strategy. That's a little bit more forgiving to start. And let's see, looks like we're getting a little bit of reaction now to a trend line. Broke it ever so slightly. The Raptor's actually producing buy signals. We're going to produce a hard edge bounce here. That's the number 3 signal. And honestly, you just can't count the buyers out of this market. Every time I think the buyers are done, they post another huge rally. All right, well, we can forget that for now. See the hard edge on the Eagle and the Raptor. Same hard edge, by the way. But whenever the market gets into that hard edge, you should anticipate some sort of reaction. May not always be a big reaction, but there should be some sort of reaction that goes on there. Okay, the Hawk now coming up with a first micro-macro cross signal. The Eagle, pardon me, the Falcon working on a trend change signal. The Eagle was looking a little bit more bullish off of this red bar buy. We got ourselves a real mixed bag here this morning. Well, we even have a market that's kind of moving sideways. We're, see here on the Eagle, makes it a little bit plainer. We're in this little bit of a sideways range. We could try an OCO order. The OCO order means one cancels other, and all we're doing with the OCO order is we're going to bracket the high and the low, and we're going to allow the breakout to show us which way the market's going to go. With the OCO order, we're not going to set it via these tools down here. Rather, we're going to right-click on the chart, and we're going to select our order, and then we're going to right-click again and select our sell order. These orders are live the moment you put them on your chart, so I tend to put them on and then pull them in to where I want them to be. And I'll select a stop strategy. And this way, if we get a breakout to the upside, I will automatically have a stop in play as well. So there's the cloud crossover signal, and the reason this one printed is because this little portion through here where the clouds were out of sync, it has since come back into sync. There's that little pullback, and then there's the signal that prints. Now I'm actually going to move my stops back down here below that swing low just to start. The ATR a little bit too cozy. Ooh. Anthony writes, the Bitcoin is too high to trade 43,000 per contract on the Thinkorswim platform. That's crazy. Well, they're certainly limiting who can participate in that one. 43,000. I haven't had a time to do a lot of research into Bitcoin, but it certainly is the market that's getting all the attention. Note here, we're producing now a hard edge buy. So the number 3 signal, the market coming into the hard edge, producing a signal, and right now just looking for a little bit of follow through on this breakout. This is the thing too with OCO trades. Whenever you bracket an obvious channel, you always open yourself up to a false breakout. And so then the question becomes, how can I avoid a false breakout? And really, the only way that I know to avoid a false breakout is to allow the market to break and then retest and then look for your entry opportunity. So you're actually not going to take it on the initial break. You're going to allow it to break. You're going to look for that retest, and then you're going to look for your buying opportunity, and vice versa here to the short side. And the market will retest 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you have to wait a long time for it. Sometimes it can make a very big move on the breakout. But just bear in mind, when you do take a breakout trade, you do leave yourself open to that possibility. Scott writes, Bitcoin pump and dump. Funny you should say that, because that's exactly how it struck me as well. With all the hype around it, it sounds just like a penny stock pump and dump. Better get in now before, like you won't have a chance tomorrow. Yeah, right. There's always a chance. Well, the sellers are kind of digging in here a little bit. Which is not what I want to see. And now we're coming back with a counter trend signal. Just try to give them a little bit of wiggle room here to sort things out. But you can see no discernible trend right now. The hawk's starting to produce a fair number of yellow bars. what I'm going to do, if we can get a couple of bars, bullish bars here, I'm going to take advantage of this swing and place my stops under there. The market has a tendency to do things in pairs. So you can see here it made a move lower, a little bit of a reaction, move lower and a reaction. Then it headed lower. So this is kind of my second attempt to move the market lower. If it trades below these lows, then it's probably going to continue lower, in which case it might be a good spot for me to actually pull the pin on the trade. Buyers gotta get busy. If the Bitcoin market is something that isn't a fly-by-night kind of deal, they'll probably come up with a mini version. The demand will be too great. Too many small speculators will be chomping at the bit to get in. So it may not happen next year. Well, you never know. Maybe around the mid-year, again, depending how popular the market is, we may actually see a mini Bitcoin. All right, we got a serious struggle going on in the marketplace right now. I'll roll my stops. With me, I know one of my bad habits is rolling my stops too early, tweaking myself out of a trade. I know some traders who say you don't roll your stop until your trade is profitable. So in other words, if you thought you could lose this much amount to begin with, well, that's where you leave it until your trade gets in profit. And there's a certain amount of logic to that, because you may have judged the original intent of the market correctly. And very often, as we've all seen, the market will take its time getting from A to B. And as it attempts to move higher or lower, as the case may be, it tends to thrash about a little bit. And sometimes in that thrashing, you can get stuck prematurely. If you didn't want to, if you thought placing your stop here at the 65.20 zone is too tight, you could always use the primary resistance line, which is 65.17 You could tuck it just below there. I always think of it as a game of tag. Maybe because my grandson loves to play that because he knows he can beat me all the time. I can't catch him anymore. Well, things pretty quiet overall. Come on, get up there. There's still a very strong bearish bias. The bulls are starting to press. Come on, get up there. All right. So the buyers own the last swing. Will they follow through? I have to admit the markets are a little duller than I thought. I thought we would see a little bit more. More volatility, I mean. Come on, get up there. Okay, trying to be patient with the market here. We're really taking our time. Well, I'll tell you one thing, if the market continues like this through, the next couple of days, I think we're going to call it an early Christmas break. I've seen the market like this between Christmas, New Year's, but not the week before Christmas. All right, there we go. Here's the push now. After a prolonged sideways pause, Woohoo, look at them go. Oh dear. Peter writes, the market has had such a huge run up, maybe best to take a break. Why trade a flat market? I agree, Peter. I'm here mostly for you guys, especially the new owners, because I know you're anxious to get familiar with your tools. But like I said, if the market's going to continue like this, we'll give it a couple of days. But if it doesn't smarten up by Wednesday, I think we're going to pull the pin, take an early Christmas break. I would kind of keep an eye out on the downside, however. The market does tend to, like I say, sometimes reverse on itself into the Christmas season. And I think I'm going to start to get more aggressive with my stops on this latest little push up. I'm a couple of swings back. The thing is, we're not seeing any follow through. So with each push higher, if we get a failure, it just increases the chance that the market's going to reverse on me and stop me out. Come on. One more push and we should see the market try to trickle a little higher here. I'm actually going to bring my break even just above the high of this bar. So on the next push up through the highs, I will at least have a break even stop. Come on, you can do it. we'll get a little bit cozier still. Come on, let's go. So this was the most volume we saw this morning, and I guess that coincided with this little dip right here. Oh, they're just hovering. Haven't decided whether they're gonna try to trade on the other side at 65.33 or not. Well, are they going to try to slip through the bottom end? It is starting to look that way. And we'll just give them a little nudge up here. Try to get this trade to break even. I've had about enough fun for the moment. I'm thinking bearish break. I'm thinking because the market is unsuccessful going higher, or at least struggling a lot going higher. If we are in a sideways trading range, we're at the top end of the range, and this is where the selling tends to occur. So I'm thinking bearish break to the short side if we can't get outside of this trading range, and it looks like we can't. So after all that, we now produced the soft edge sell signals. So we could short this and look for the bears to try to move the market lower now. Now, I tend not to reverse on my trades. I tend not to do this. You know, if I get stopped out, I'll step back, I'll reassess. But just given how the market has been struggling to head higher, and it seems as though it's climaxed in a way. See, we've got this pennant type formation developing on the Raptor chart as well. And these inclined or ascending pendants or triangles do have a tendency to break down. So there you go. The Raptor comes back with a number 2 signal after testing the extreme way up here, really drawing out number 2 signal. I have a feeling I'd actually use this data right here. Retest came back, produced a sell signal. Target for the number 2 signal is the hard edge. I may try to get it down here to the primary resistance line. And who knows, it may even get into that opening morning gap, in which case we could see a trade all the way down to 6,500. That's a long ways away, though, the way the market is trading right now. One thing about bearish breaks, when they occur, they tend to be fast. The market does tend to move lower faster than it moves higher. Well, I have a feeling the other tools are just as quiet. Yeah, the Hawk, still a lot of yellow bars. The Falcon trying to confirm what's going on with the Raptor now. We're going to produce a trend change signal, maybe. The Eagle's still full on bullish. And trying to slip a little bit higher. It's just too much neutrality, you know, too much overlap in prices. If we looked at a time-based chart, let's say, oh, I don't know, 15 minute. You can see a lot of overlap going on here this morning. Actually, a 5-minute would show even more, wouldn't it? So prices retracing. You see these long wicks and tails, just a sign of neutrality. There's nothing going on there this morning. Oh, sure, now they're going to rally. And this also characteristic of a sideways market where we're just getting a lot of signals with very little follow through. So what ends up happening in a trade like this is it's a coin toss, right? You're flipping a coin. Heads I buy, tails I sell. Well, here go the bulls. I was a little bit quick with my stop. As I said, that's my bad habit. Well, gang, there's not a whole lot going on here this morning. I know we've only been in the session for about an hour, but honestly, I can't see anything coming of today's trading. I'm going to get tagged here in a moment, so that's going to be it for me. Unless anyone has any questions, I think we're going to button up shop for today and try to do this again tomorrow. And if things don't start shaping up a little bit, then I think we may even have to pull the pin a little bit earlier and look at taking an early Christmas break. And certainly there's worse things than that. All right, well, I will see you again tomorrow morning. I will talk to you then. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye for now.